Hi guys, today we will be converting decimals into fractions, and this is part 2. So for the first question, we will be converting 6.6 or 6 and 6/10 into a fraction. So first what we gotta do is we gotta know that there's always a 1 under a decimal or a whole number. And I mentioned that in the last video. So now we will be multiplying the number 6.6 or 6 and 6/10 by 10 to move the decimal one space to the right and make it a whole number. And when we do this, we get 66/10. We gotta do whatever we do to the top to the bottom, so we also multiplied the denominator by 10. So this is called an improper fraction. And to turn it into a mixed fraction, we have to first turn it into a mixed fraction, or else this is not actually the answer. So to do this, we have to ask ourselves how many times 10 fits into 66, and that would be 6 times, because 10 times 6 is 66. So when we do this, we get 6 left over. So the answer would be 6 and 6/10. So here I'm just labeling the improper fraction and the mixed fraction to just show you which are which. And here we are also still not done. And you might be wondering why. So we need to simplify always, like I said in the last video. So we have to find the common factor, which in this case is 2. So we have to divide the top and the denominator and the numerator by 2. And when we do this, we know that 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So we would get 6 3/5. And now we are done. This is our final answer, 6 and 3/5. So remember that always when you're doing a question, simplify, or else that's not the actual answer. If you don't simplify, then you will get a whole other number. And also another tip is that when you're doing any operation with a mixed number, if it's adding a whole number to the whole number on a mixed fraction, then you can do that, but just leave the whole number the same as it is. So the second question, we'll be doing 4 and 4/5 and convert it into 4 and 45/100 and convert it into a fraction. So now we will be multiplying it by 100. And if you're wondering why, it's because the decimal point has to move 2 spots to be a whole number. And the 2 spots, or the 2 places, replicate the 2 zeros in 100. So they replicate the zeros, or which number we have to multiply it by to get a whole number. So when we do this, we get 445/100. And here we have an improper fraction, so we're going to convert it into a mixed fraction. And now we ask ourselves how many times 100 fits into 445. So if we do 100 times 4, we would get 400, and that's the closest we could go to 445. So the answer, we would get 4, and we would have 45 left over. So we would get 4 and 45/100. Still, this is not the final answer. And that's because we have to simplify again. So the common factor here is 5. So we can divide 45 by 5 and 100 by 5. So that's the common factor. When we do this, we get 4. So I'm pointing an arrow there to show that you always have to simplify no matter what question. So here we would get 4 and 9/20. And now we will move on to the third question. Okay, so the third question will be, we will be converting the decimal number 3 and 45/100 into a fraction. So now we know that there's a 1 underneath any whole number or decimal. So we're just going to show that. And we have to do the same thing as we did in question 2. We need to move the decimal space 2 spots to turn it into a whole number. So that means we have to multiply it by 100. Whatever we do to the top, we do to the bottom. And we would get 345/100, or 345 over 100. And now we get an improper fraction as we did for the following questions 1 and 2. So now we gotta ask ourselves again, how many times 100 can fit into 345? And if we multiply 100 by 3, we would get 300. If we multiplied it by 4, we would get 400, which is over. And we don't want to go over. We just want to go under or about the same. And now we would get 3, and we would get 45 left over. So I'm just going to show an arrow to how much there's left over. If you're going to, so how we would know is if you would minus 345 by 300, you would get 45 remaining or left over. Okay, so we are still not done again. We got to simplify, reduce, same thing. So we're gonna find the common factor, which is 5. So we're gonna divide the numerator and the denominator by 5. So when we do this, we would get 3 and 9/20. We know this because 45 divided by 5 is 9 and 100 divided by 5 is 25. I hope you learned something, and thanks for watching. Bye!